And welcome back to Janky AF and Year of the Aerostar, episode number 131. Well, we have been, I won't say slacking because we've been doing things like always, but it's been a long time since we had a Year of the Aerostar, and even the last one I did, was almost like an archival episode, so to speak. So very happy to be recording another episode. Hopefully I did everything right technologically. We do have a whole new setup here. I think this will be our setup for the winter. Very stoked about that. I don't always use the word stoked, but I guess I do sometimes. Well, maybe I'll give you a little behind the scenes on that. But for now, I think we should, get right into it because we have a beautiful Aerostar to talk about here. So without further ado, here we have a 1995 Ford Aerostar passenger minivan, listed for just $1,350 in Shenango Forks, New York. And I do know how to pronounce this one because this is not too far away from me and the great, greater Shenango area. Not to be confused with Chittenango. This is Shenango. A great name to say. So many... which I presume this to be, Native American Indian names, and we drove all the people out of here, but we were nice enough to keep some of their names. But Shenango, in any case, just does roll off the tongue. It's a beautiful sounding name, but this is not just in Shenango, which is Shenango Forks, which presumably means there's like a greater and lower Shenango or something like that. I don't know too much about Shenango, but I will continue to say it as often as possible, and I know it's not too far from me. So, ostensibly here, we are shopping for an Aerostar. Now, I did, have a video out about listing parts, going to the junkyard, and Janky to Thanky to everyone who watched that video. That and the fleet update really got some new people on board, so welcome if you're new here to Janky AF. This is sort of the meat and potatoes of this channel. It's just me talking, ad nauseum about the Ford Aerostar and different ones that I see on Marketplace and that I fantasize about buying. And right now, we actually have the realistic possibility to buy one because we got some insurance money and we saved a lot of that money by going to the pick and pull junkyard, got pretty much all the parts we need. And now we are sort of in the market. And we sold the car too, the Jetta. You can, go back if you're, not up to date and yet still follow Janky AF. That one is gone. Went to a great seller. Another video for another day. Okay, so let's get into about this vehicle. I apologize, I am a little bit rusty. Last thing I'll say is, I think I'm going to do like a meta video where I record myself responding to the comments that I have to respond to, because I have a lot of comments to respond to. I thought it'd be funny to record that process just to show you how I do it and show you that it is, it does take a while to do. I actually have no idea how long it'll take me to record that video, but that's just testament to all the wonderful comments that have poured in that I will respond to. So, about this vehicle, driven 170,000 miles, automatic transmission. The exterior is white and the interior is gray. The fuel type is gasoline. We have a combined 18 miles per gallon. That's 15 city and 22 highway. The vehicle is paid off and it does have a clean title. Wonderful little description here. $1,500 cash or best offer. Now obviously it's been slashed to $1,350 as it's been up for a week and they've already lowered the price. So that's a good sign. And it's obviously negotiable or best offer. Runs good and was recently inspected. Message, hidden information, if you have more questions. Well, that's very inviting. If post is up, it's still available, which now we have to write on every single Marketplace post because of these silly automated generated responses that we can click a button and ask, largely irrelevant questions. So, last thing they say was in the middle of cleaning it when the photos were taken. And that'll lead into sort of a funny picture later. But I appreciate that they were cleaning the Aerostar out before they took pictures of it. That's, not everybody. You see a lot of vehicles for sale on Marketplace. They're absolutely trashed on the inside. So the fact that, they took pictures of it and that it was recently inspected means that although you'll see it's quite rough around the edges, I think this is actually a pretty good buy if you're looking to get into the Aerostar market. Now, I'm presuming that this is the 3-liter engine. I do not think we have any photos under the hood, but it stands to reason. You could option the 4.0 on a non-all-wheel drive model, 4-wheel drive model. I just seems like more optioned 4 liters were on extendeds. I think you could option the shorty with a 4-liter, but they're pretty rare. I have seen a couple. So we'll just go ahead and assume that it's the 3-liter. First thing I got to point out here, great Arizona iced tea. Not only is this a tour of Aerostars, but it'll also be a tour of great beverages, because this person has pretty good taste in beverages as they are cleaning out their Aerostar. Okay, so moving along, we have a nice front shot. I like that. I think we have a shot of every side of the vehicle, which is very important. Sometimes you'll see shots that are cropped and cut off and you can't quite see everything. And when you're looking at an Aerostar in particular, you really want to see a few specific things, namely the bumpers. And it looks like these bumpers are intact, or largely intact. We'll get to that. But, as long as they have the side curtains on them and the major structural components, they can be patched together. And Janky do Thanky, and I apologize, but I'll shout you out when I answer messages. Someone just recommended a plastic welding kit, and they're super cheap. You can get them on Amazon, and they are, it looks like it's going to be a really, really good tool to fix Aerostar bumpers. So I'm super jazzed about that. I'm going to order one probably tonight, and then that'll be a cool video to see if we can piece an Aerostar bumper back together, because a lot of these you got to take what you can get, and sometimes they're not all there, but you can sort of piece them back together and get them, structurally sound, and then after that you can get them aesthetically a little bit better looking and paint them, whatever you need to do to get your Aerostar bumper, because Aerostar bumpers are like, the needle in the haystack trying to find a good Aerostar bumper. And this has both of them, so quite honestly, it's a good run and driving car, but it'd be worth, excuse me one second, we'll go to a commercial break.
Nobody does it better.
In the new world of minivans, nobody does it like the Ford Aerostar. Nobody gives you the highly distinctive styling, the smooth riding comfort, the engineering innovations of Ford Aerostar. For the discriminating,
Baby, you're the best.
nobody does it like Ford Aerostar.
All right, and welcome back. Sorry about that. Hopefully you enjoyed that sweet, sweet Aerostar footage during our commercial break. Okay, we are back now. We were talking about the bumpers, I believe. Anyways, it'd be, totally admissible to buy this vehicle just to take the bumpers off it. Now, if it's a good run and drive an Aerostar, we want to preserve them. You don't just want to scrap it, but I guess you could really, have a spare engine and all that if you wanted to, or just mock up some sort of janky bumpers and run this one as sort of your B vehicle. Eventually, I always talk about it, and I've been watching 3D printing videos. I would love to be able to figure out a way to semi-mass produce these bumpers and provide an aftermarket solution. We'll see if that ever happens or if someone beats me to it. Let's keep going here. Again, nice front 3/4 shot here. The Aerostar looking very, very svelte, I may say. I like the, a white Aerostar is just the classic color. It's kind of the contractor color, but it does have the windows here, has your factory roof rack. And with the, black unpainted steel wheels, it just strikes quite a nice pose, I think. It sits really nice, and obviously we see all the rust going on the rocker panels, but it seems like it's mostly, just cosmetic, and hasn't really affected the frame because it has passed inspection now. Some, some people who dole out New York State inspections are, more forgiving than others. But nonetheless, it seems like it's a pretty sturdy Aerostar here. Okay, this isn't a great picture. I think we have another one that's less blurry. Here we have, ding, 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 a nice feature here, which is the, looks like they just had a little snack too, adding to the drinks here. The dashboard carpet, the carpeted dashboard. Now, obviously this will not fit a 86 through 91 Aerostar because the dashboard was changed. However, on these later ones, it looks absolutely awesome. I would imagine that it, prevents cracking and stuff like that. And it's just sort of a cool little feature. And I don't think you can really get these anymore. So you got to find a used one or a van that has it already. But I've always loved the dashboard carpet. It's just sort of seems like a bygone accessory that we don't really get to see anymore. So I think that's very nice. I like how this cracked me up. They were saying they were just cleaning it, and there's just a hammer sitting on the seat. So I wonder what part of the cleaning job involved a hammer. I've never heard of cleaning something with a hammer. However, to each their own. Obviously, some work has been getting done in some respect, which is always good. Kind of a cool spec, it's just your gray interior. I believe this is called medium gray. I actually just got, and I wish I had him here with me, but I'll show him next episode. I've been starting to finally cave and get Aerostar literature. So I'm trying to get every single, little sales brochure from every year of the Aerostar. Eventually I would like an actual Aerostar from every year, but in the meantime, we'll try to get all the brochures. But it's cool to see the different color options and just how the Aerostar was presented and its evolution and progression through the years. Another thing we'll see, and I think we have a better picture of it, ding, 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 is, and here we see that, he or she had the iced tea and now a lot of water, and it looks like we got some cherry Dr. Pepper. So a lot of nice, and is that like a yellow Red Bull? A lot of nice beverages going on in this listing, which I appreciate. Here we have the center console. Not quite a diamond in the rough, I would say, but they are somewhat rare and really nice if you can get your hands on one. Now, I just did get my hands on one in my great junkyard haul. I couldn't resist taking it. This one is like a darker gray, which is interesting. I'm surprised it's not a lighter gray to go with the light interior. The one I got has sort of a gold tan, which seems to go with a tan interior. And I'm thinking about painting mine, actually, perhaps to match the Cayman green metallic. I think that would look pretty cool since it doesn't really match the gray interior anyways, but I like this dark gray one. That one would work very well in my Aerostar. So, for $1,300 or maybe a little cheaper if you can negotiate, not only are you getting, running, driving Aerostar, which is already good, you're getting bumpers, you're getting a dashboard carpet, you're getting a center console, all little items that are difficult to find and that you might pay, $60, $70, $100 more for the bumpers just to get those pieces individually. So I think that was pretty cool. Headliner in great shape. Looks like the seats are in great shape. Obviously, it's just been cleaned. And this, the lighting's not great, but this molding here, I'd like to see it on the other side because I think it sags and water gets in a little bit more on the driver's side for whatever reason. But this plastic gray molding here in fantastic condition. If you really wanted to, you could remove all that molding and transfer it over to an Aerostar that, on the exterior was a little nicer, and then just sort of take it out and use this as a work truck with no molding, or if you really wanted to put your sort of saggy molding back into this one, although that would certainly be a job. Now, it'd look a little weird if it wasn't already a gray interior, but I've always wanted to sort of see if that transplant was possible and get some nice plastic interior molding, because there's no way you could buy that. And it is very common for that to sort of, get water behind it, and then the sun and the water makes it sag and crinkle, as I'm sure anyone who's watching this who has had an Aerostar is familiar with. So that would be a good, so I don't want to say this is a parts vehicle because it's pretty nice Aerostar, but you do have quite a bit of cosmetic rust going on. And so if you did have another Aerostar that you want to sort of make 2 into 1, or even 2 into 2, and just again have your A Aerostar and your B Aerostar, this would be, a nice functional parts vehicle, or, parts hauling vehicle, a run around town vehicle, winter beater, and then you could keep your other Aerostar, not drive it in the winter and all that. This is me thinking for myself. You can do whatever you want. You could turn this into your daily driver if you really wanted to, and just run it as is, or weld in some sheet metal, or Bondo it, or spray foam it, whatever you wanted to do. That's the beauty of the Aerostar. Okay, so again, we have shots from every side. I think we do get a little better shot of the rear bumper. It looks to be in good condition. This has this little signature backup dent here, and it's not as bad as some others, but I saw this recently. Mine has it, my brown one has it, my 86, and this is like a telltale sign, because apparently people backed into things in this little corner. There's a little bit of a blind spot there with your mirrors, and that was very common. You could see, it's a little worse for wear, especially in this area. It looks like this rocker is almost completely gone, but you know, if it hasn't really spread to the frame, then it is just cosmetic at the end of the day. And just a nice plain Jane white with gray interior with the red piping. Kind of a cool spec. It's got power windows, so it's the XL or XLT. Let me see if I can get a little better. Now you do have the corner of this bumper missing, which that's kind of a tricky piece to scab in there. But you know, the bumper is, I would say it's, now I like this too. There's a fella back here, something. I don't know if that's a gun or a rake or something. They're doing something back there. You know, got the trampoline, keeping active. That's good. Here we go. You know, great pictures. I got to say, they really documented everything. It looks like it is the XLT. And so this bumper, it happens on the top. I mean, these things were brittle and then people stood on them and loaded stuff in them. Not uncommon to see, but I think you could, if you really wanted to, you know, patch some stuff in there. Pardon me, just a spammer calling me. Don't you know I'm talking about Aerostars here, buddy? Looks like we do have the third brake light up here. I don't know. I think that probably came in right around 95. I'm sure someone out there will know exactly when it came in. And your beautiful tail lights, still with your amber. This is pre-97. And, you know, again, other than the rockers, you know, the sheet metal seems to be in pretty good condition. It looks like, you know, it's got its fair share of clear coat fade and all that. And it's, you know, a little patinaed, but not terrible. Really not bad. And again, the rockers, you could get rockers, you could just leave them, you could just, you know, cosmetically dress them up a little bit just to make it look a little bit more presentable, or just drive it, you know. So there you have it. I don't know, I got to figure out what my thumbnail is going to be. This one's quite nice. I quite like that front 3/4, although I think we did have a profile shot, and I usually use a profile shot just for the, you know, yeah, that's pretty good too, but I don't know, maybe I'll use the front 3/4. You will find out when you watch this episode of Year of the Aerostar here on Janky AF. Really fun one, nice one to sort of get back into the groove. And I mean, this is close to me and it's pretty cheap. Now, we did just get a bunch of snow, so that's going to make all the logistics of all this way harder. And if you watch my last episode of My Janky Life, I'm way behind getting vehicles moved, stored, put away, all the things that we have to do before winter. I don't have my snow tires on. I got stuck in the middle of the road going up about a 2% grade in my Prius on Thanksgiving morning. And happy belated Janksgiving to everybody out there, by the way. So, but I'm, you know, yeah, you could do a lot worse, especially just to get those bumpers and get another vehicle. I'm getting a little bit picky, although I don't have a 95, but I'm looking for kind of something special if I'm going to actually, you know, go through all the, go through the rigmarole of buying a vehicle off marketplace, which, you know, I'm fairly familiar with, or Craigslist, whatever it may be. But it is, you know, you get that adrenaline rush and you talking to the seller and you're hoping they're a reasonable person and all that, but it is, you know, you want to pick wisely. We do not have unlimited funds to just go out and buy every single Aerostar, although that would be nice. But this is certainly a very good candidate, and if you're local to this area and you want to get into the Aerostar game, or you're just looking for a second vehicle, or you want a vehicle that you can haul stuff around with, or you want your first classic car and you want to get something cheap, which parts are relatively easy to find, and something unique and different, you know, there's really no wrong reason to buy a Ford Aerostar. And I guess we'll leave it there. So, thank you so much for watching this episode of Year of the Aerostar here on Janky AF. We will have another one coming for you very soon, and until then, Janky do thanky.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.